Paul Burrell claims to have found the letter in the pantry of Diana's apartment at Kensington Palace.
For years, Princess Diana's life has been the subject of countless books, documentaries, and interviews. Yet, even after all these years, some pieces of her story remain hidden, protected from the public eye. Among the most poignant of these undiscovered treasures is a lost letter that Diana wrote to her children, Prince William and Prince Harry. Recently unveiled, this letter not only reveals a deeply personal side of Diana, but also offers an emotional window into her thoughts as a mother. In a time where her life has been dissected from every angle, this letter serves as a reminder of the quiet, intimate moments she shared with her sons. The contents are not just about love or guidance. They are a glimpse into the fears, hopes, and dreams Diana had for her children. How will this newfound revelation affect the way we view Diana's legacy? And what does it mean for the future of her sons? Stick around to uncover the emotional truth behind Princess Diana's lost letter. The letter, penned by Princess Diana, was hidden away for years, locked in the vaults of royal secrecy. Its very existence was a closely guarded secret, known only to a few select individuals in the royal circle. For years, speculation swirled about its contents. What could Diana have written in such a private note that it had to remain under wraps for so long? Was it just a personal expression of love for her children? Or was there something darker, something far more explosive, lurking between the lines? Princess Diana, as the world knew her, was both a beacon of charity and a subject of relentless scrutiny. Her marriage to Prince Charles, riddled with betrayal and heartbreak, was played out in the court of public opinion. But beyond the cameras and the never-ending spotlight, Diana was a mother, fiercely devoted to her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry. Anyone who saw her with them knew her greatest joy was wrapped up in her role as their protector and guide. This letter, written at a time when Diana was facing unimaginable pressure from both the public and her own family, was likely her final message to the children she adored. The circumstances surrounding its secrecy raise questions. Was the letter truly kept from the public to protect Diana's image? Was there something in it that could have exposed the royal family's carefully constructed facade? The royal family has long been known for its calculated control over public image. Every move is deliberate, every word scrutinized. Diana, who often bucked tradition and spoke candidly about her struggles, represented a stark contrast to the rigid expectations placed on royal members. If there were details in her letter that could have caused a stir, it's easy to understand why those in power might have wanted to keep it hidden. But perhaps it wasn't just about maintaining an image of perfection. Perhaps the letter was far more than just a mother's final words to her children. Some believe Diana may have written the letter as a way to expose certain truths about her life, truths that would have rocked the monarchy to its core. She had already spoken openly about her troubled marriage to Charles, the betrayal she felt, and the emotional toll it took on her. But this letter, hidden for years, could have been her opportunity to reveal what she truly thought of the royal family, of the people who controlled her life and her every move. It's also worth considering the timing. Diana's death in 1997 was shrouded in mystery, with countless conspiracy theories surrounding the events of that fateful night in Paris. The letter's existence and subsequent concealment could point to a deeper, more intricate web of royal intrigue. Was the letter kept hidden because it contained insights into the forces at play behind her death? Was it a reflection of Diana's growing fears about her safety and the power dynamics at play within the royal court? Could it be that the letter held clues to why she felt so isolated, even in the company of her family? The release of the letter now, decades after her death, only adds fuel to the fire. It's as though the letter itself has become a symbol, a tangible piece of evidence in the ongoing mystery of Diana's life and death. Some believe it offers a rare glimpse into the vulnerable, raw side of the princess that the public rarely saw. Others wonder if it reveals more than just personal feelings, perhaps shedding light on secrets that the royal family hoped would remain buried forever. In the end, the letter's secrecy only deepens the enigma of Princess Diana. Was it a simple letter to her children, filled with love and good wishes, or was it something far more profound? A message with implications that could alter the way we view the royal family's most famous member? Diana's life, full of secrets, heartbreak, and untold stories, remains an open book. And now, with the letter's release, we're left wondering what else hidden in the shadows is waiting to be revealed. The moment Princess Diana's letter was revealed to the world, it was like opening a window into the heart of a woman who had spent her life hidden beneath the weight of public expectations and royal obligations. In those few pages, the world saw a side of Diana that had been carefully concealed behind the polished, glamorous image of the people's princess. What emerged from those words wasn't just a mother's love, it was a raw, unfiltered expression of vulnerability, fear, and hope. As the letter was slowly unwrapped for the public, the air seemed to grow thick with emotion. It was as though Diana's voice was speaking directly to the hearts of millions who had always wondered what the woman behind the headlines truly thought, what she truly felt. In her words, the veil was lifted, revealing the woman who feared for her son's futures, who was uncertain about her own, yet who remained resolutely devoted to the two young men she had brought into the world. Diana's letter, above all, was a testament to her fierce, unyielding love for her children. But it was not just a love defined by tenderness and affection. It was the kind of love that brims with protection, with the desire to shield her sons from the harsh realities of the world, especially the unforgiving glare of the royal spotlight. She feared for William and Harry, knowing that their destinies as future heirs to the throne would invite a torrent of public scrutiny, invasive media coverage, and relentless expectations. Diana had long been a target of this very attention, and it had cost her dearly. The idea that her sons might one day face the same pressures haunted her, and in her letter, she poured out her maternal anxieties, revealing her deep, instinctive need to protect them at all costs. But even amidst her fears, there was an undeniable pride in her words. Diana spoke of her hopes for William and Harry, not only to become strong and resilient men, but also kind, compassionate leaders who would learn from the mistakes of previous generations. She wished for them to break free from the constraints of tradition, to embrace the world with empathy and understanding, and to carve out a legacy that was not defined by royal duty alone, but by a genuine connection to the people they would one day serve. It was a poignant reflection of Diana's own struggles with the monarchy, a system that, in her eyes, often demanded conformity at the expense of individuality. The letter was not just a farewell. It was a call for her sons to rise above the flaws of the institution she had been thrust into and to do so with their hearts intact. Yet, as powerful as these messages were, there was something even more heart-wrenching about the letter, the undeniable sense of vulnerability that seeped through Diana's words. The letter was written at a time when Diana's world was crumbling around her. Her marriage to Prince Charles had disintegrated under the weight of infidelity and irreconcilable differences. The pressure from the media and the royal family was unrelenting, and Diana herself was in the midst of an emotional and psychological battle that she knew might one day consume her. The letter, in many ways, felt like a last will and testament, not just of material possessions, but of emotional truths. It was a document crafted by a mother who, despite her public persona, was deeply afraid that she might not be around to guide her sons through the tumultuous years ahead. She knew all too well the dangers that came with living in a fishbowl, where every move is analyzed, every word dissected, and every mistake magnified. Diana's vulnerability in this letter was not weakness. It was the power of a woman who knew the fragility of time and the uncertainty of her own future. She was a mother who had always been there for her children, but she could sense that her time with them was slipping away. There is a haunting quality to her words, an unspoken fear that despite her best efforts, she might not be able to shield them from the world in the way she had hoped. It is this rawness, this authentic display of a mother's love and concern, that elevates the letter to something more than just a private correspondence. It becomes a universal symbol of the fears every parent faces, the nagging worry that they won't be able to protect their children from life's darkest realities. In the end, Diana's letter wasn't just a final message to her children. It was a powerful reminder of the depth of human emotion, the complexity of motherhood, and the unseen battles fought behind closed doors. It spoke not only of a mother's love, but also of a woman's determination to leave a legacy that wasn't built on titles or wealth, but on compassion, hope, and a relentless desire to give her children a future that was their own. Diana, Princess of Wales, had a remarkable gift: the ability to transform the conventional into something deeply personal and deeply human. One of her most profound legacies was her approach to motherhood. In a world where royal children were typically raised in the cold, distant embrace of nannies and governesses, Diana was a striking anomaly. She broke with centuries of tradition, determined to be an active, hands-on mother to her two sons, William and Harry. In a family where duty often overshadowed affection, Diana's parenting was revolutionary. She spent countless hours with her boys, creating an intimate, nurturing bond that became the foundation of their emotional lives. Diana's desire to provide her children with a normal childhood was not merely a wish, it was a rebellion against the rigid and often isolating rules of royal life. The palace was a place where personal emotion and affection were often sacrificed at the altar of public duty. But Diana, herself a product of a turbulent childhood, wanted something different for William and Harry. She wanted them to feel the warmth of a mother's love, not just the weight of their titles. As a result, she took them on trips that were outside the royal mold, to amusement parks, to meet the people, and to live a life less scripted. She was determined to shield them from the suffocating pressures of royalty and let them experience a world where they could just be kids. Her dedication to her children's well-being created a bond that was palpable. Diana's influence on her sons can still be seen today in the way they interact with the world around them. William, now the Prince of Wales, and Harry, the Duke of Sussex, have both spoken time and again about how their mother shaped their personalities. William has reflected on how Diana's open-hearted nature and genuine empathy towards others taught him the value of compassion, while Harry, in his public endeavors and charity work, often credits his mother for instilling in him the drive to make a real difference. But the most lasting impact of Diana's motherhood is perhaps the way her influence has guided them both through the storms of their own lives. Storms that were, in part, shaped by their royal roles, but also by the loss of their mother at a young age. This bond between Diana and her sons wasn't just emotional, it was spiritual, woven into the very fabric of their identities. And it's in her final letter that we see Diana's deepest hopes for her children crystallize. In the letter, she doesn't simply express love. She imparts the wisdom of a mother who had been through more than her fair share of heartbreak, but who had come out the other side with a profound understanding of the world and the people in it. She encourages William and Harry to remain grounded, to embrace their true selves, and to never lose sight of the values that would define them, not as royals, but as men. The letter is more than just a farewell. It is a mother's final piece of advice, her last call to her sons to step into the future with strength, humility, and authenticity. Diana had lived a life marked by both public adoration and private sorrow, and she wanted to ensure that her children did not fall prey to the same traps. She hoped they would rise above the expectations placed on them, forging paths that were uniquely their own, free from the constraints of royal duty. "Stay true to yourselves," Diana implores them, her words an echo of her own struggles to stay true to herself within the confines of her royal role. What makes the letter all the more powerful is the emotional weight behind it. Diana knew her time might be limited. Her life had been fraught with challenges, most notably her difficult marriage and the constant media scrutiny that invaded her personal space. In her final years, she had been fighting to regain control of her own life and narrative. Yet, Despite the uncertainty, there was never any wavering in her dedication to her sons. She knew that while the trappings of royalty would follow them, it was their hearts, their values, and their compassion that would ultimately define who they became. The impact of Diana's motherhood continues to reverberate through the actions and words of William and Harry. Both men have openly discussed how much their mother's example shaped their approach to fatherhood, their charitable work, and their interactions with the world at large. Her insistence on kindness, her courage in the face of adversity, and her fierce love for her sons have been guiding forces in their own lives. Through her letter, Diana passed on a legacy that was far more valuable than any crown. It wasn't wealth, nor titles, nor power, but the timeless lessons of love, strength, and authenticity. In those simple, heartfelt words, Diana reminded William and Harry of who they were and who they could become. The legacy of her motherhood is a legacy that will echo through the generations. The letter, though ostensibly a message of love to her sons, subtly unravels the hidden struggles that define Diana's final years. Beneath the surface of the people's princess persona, Diana's life was far from the fairy tale the public often imagined. Behind the glamour, she was a woman caught in a web of personal turmoil, haunted by a broken marriage to Prince Charles, relentless media scrutiny, and a deep, pervasive sense of loneliness. These private battles are woven into the fabric of the letter, offering a window into a mind that was both deeply resilient and profoundly burdened. Diana's marriage, plagued by infidelity and emotional neglect, had shattered her in ways that few could understand. Her divorce from Charles had been highly publicized, a painful chapter in her life that left her exposed, vulnerable, and often vilified by the press. Though she had managed to find a sense of independence and self-worth outside of her marriage, the scars ran deep. Diana's struggles were not just confined to her royal duties, but to a profound internal conflict: how to be a mother, a woman, and an icon in a world that demanded so much of her and gave so little in return. In the letter, Diana doesn't directly reference her own pain, but her concern for her son's future makes it clear that she feared they would one day endure the same kind of scrutiny and emotional strain she had experienced. She understood all too well the psychological toll that living under a microscope could have on someone. The letter, in its tender words, is a veiled cry for them to avoid the traps she had fallen into. Traps set by the media, by royal expectations, and by her own insecurities. Diana's sense of responsibility as a mother is evident in her plea for her children to remain grounded and true to themselves, despite the overwhelming pressures of their royal destiny. This personal anguish, which Diana so expertly shielded from the public, shines through her writing. The letter reveals not just a mother's love, but a woman who had fought to maintain her identity in a world that constantly tried to redefine her. It is a reminder of the deep emotional cost that fame, and particularly royal fame, exacts on the individual. The release of Diana's letter is not just a personal revelation, it is a historical one. As a mother, Diana defied the traditional roles of royalty, and her influence on her children's lives cannot be understated. The letter solidifies her position as a loving, caring, and attentive mother, qualities that have often been overshadowed by the drama of her marriage and her tragic death. This newfound insight into Diana's motherhood reshapes how we view her legacy. While much has been said about her contributions to charity and her impact on the royal family, this letter gives us a deeper understanding of her private life. It reminds us that, above all, Diana was a mother first, and her love for her sons was the driving force behind many of her actions. Princess Diana's lost letter to her children offers a powerful glimpse into her profound love, hopes, and fears for William and Harry. It reveals a vulnerable side of the princess, one that few ever had the privilege to witness. This final message stands as a testament to her strength and devotion as a mother. Though Diana left us too soon, her love lives on in the hearts of her sons and millions of others worldwide. To learn more about Diana's lasting legacy, watch our full video on YouTube. where we explore the untold story behind her love for her children.